I have two books I'd like to read to you. The first, most important one is, reminds me a lot of your school. Actually, both of them do, but because we're celebrating Dr. Seuss also, I think this is a good one to start out with. Has anybody ever read Hooray for Diff'n'Doofer Day? All right. Good story to read? What do you think? Yeah. All right. So this is by the world-famous, wonderful Dr. Seuss, an idol of mine. I've always lived... Oh, I'll tell you what I'll do, by the way. I promise you that you don't have to worry about like stretching your neck out. I will turn and show you the pictures after each page. Okay? I've always lived in Dinkerville. My friends all live here too. We go to Diff'n'Doofer School. We're happy that we do. Our school is at the corner of Dinkzuber and Dinkzot. It looks like any other school, but we suspect it's not. I think we're learning lots of things not taught at other schools. Our teachers are remarkable. They make up their own rules. Sounds like a great place you go to school. Miss Bobble teaches listening. Miss Wobble teaches smelling. Miss Fribble teaches laughing. And Miss Quibble teaches yelling. Oops. Miss Twinning teaches tying knots and neckerchiefs and noodles and how to tell chrysanthemums from miniature poodles. Miss Vining teaches all the ways a pigeon may be peppered and how to put a saddle on a lizard or a leopard. My teacher is Miss Bonkers. She's as bouncy as a flea. I'm not certain what she teaches, but I'm glad she teaches me. Look, look, she chirps, I'll show you how to tell a cactus from a cow, and then I shall instruct you why a hippo cannot hope to fly. She even teaches frogs to dance and pigs to put on underpants. One day she taught a duck to sing. Miss Bonkers teaches everything. Of all the teachers in our school, I like Miss Bonkers best. Our teachers are all different, but she's differenter than the rest. We also have a principal. His name is Mr. Lowe. He is the very saddest man that any of us know. He mumbles, are they learning this and that and such and such? His face is wrinkled as a prune from worrying so much. He breaks a lot of pencil points from pushing down too hard, and many dogs start barking as he mopes around the yard. We think he wears false eyebrows. In fact, we're sure it's so. We've heard he takes them off at night. I guess we'll never know.
Oh my God.
But we know he likes Miss Bonkers. He treats her like a queen. He's always there to watch her when she's on her trampoline. There are many other people who make Diff'n'Doofer run. They are utterly amazing. I love every single one. Our nurse, Miss Clot, knows what to do when we've got sniffles or the flu. One day I had a splinter, so she bandaged me from head to toe. Mr. Plunger, our custodian, has fashioned a machine, a super, zuper, flooper do. It keeps the whole school clean. Sounds like a pretty fun place to go to school. Our music teacher, Mrs. Fox, makes bagpipes out of straws and socks. Our art instructor, Mr. Breeze, paints pictures hanging by his knees. In science class with Mr. Katz, we learn to build robotic cats. In gym, we watch as Mr. Bear hoists elephants into the air. Miss Loon is our librarian. She hides behind the shelves and often cries out louder when we're reading to ourselves. We have 3 cooks, all named McMunch, who merrily prepare our lunch. They make us hot dogs, beans, and fries, plus things we do not recognize. And as they cook, they sing their song, not too short and not too long. Roast and toast and slice and dice. Cooking lunch is oh so nice. You should listen carefully today when you're in the lunch line, see if people are singing that same song in our cafeteria. We were eating their concoctions, telling jokes and making noise when Mr. Lowe appeared and howled, "Attention, girls and boys!" He began to fuss and fidget, scratch and mutter and sneeze and cough. He shook his head so hard we thought his eyebrows would come off. He wrung his hands, he cleared his throat, he shed a single tear, then sobbed, I've got something to announce, and that is why I'm here. All schools for miles and miles around must take a special test to see who's learning such and such, to see which school's the best. If our small school does not do well, then it will be torn down, and you will have to go to school in dreary Flobber Town. Not Flobbertown, we shouted, and we shuddered at the name. Not for everyone in Flobbertown does everything the same. It's miserable in Flobbertown. They dress in just one style. They sing one song. They never dance. They march in single file. They do not have a playground, and they do not have a park. Their lunches have no taste at all. Their dogs are scared to bark. Miss Bonkers rose. Don't fret, she said. You've learned the things you need to pass that test and many more. I'm certain you'll succeed. We've taught you that the earth is round, that red and white make pink, and something else that matters more. We taught you how to think. I hope you're right, sighed Mr. Lowe. He shed another tear. The test is in 10 minutes, and you're taking it right here. We sat in shock and disbelief. Oh no, we moaned, oh no! We were even more unhappy than unhappy, Mr. Lowe. But then the test was handed out. Yahoo! We yelled, Yahoo! For it was filled with all the things that we all knew we knew. There were questions about noodles and poodles, frogs and yelling, about listening and laughing and chrysanthemums and smelling. There were questions about other things we'd never seen or heard, and yet somehow we answered them, enjoying every word. One week later, after recess, Mr. Lowe meandered in. We'd never seen him smile before, but now he wore a grin. He soon began to giggle, then his giggle grew by half, and then it really happened. Mr. Lowe began to laugh. You've saved our school, you've saved our school, he jubilantly roared. We've got the highest score, he wrote it on the board. Miss Bonkers did some cartwheels till her face turned cherry red. She bounded up to Mr. Lowe and kissed him on the head. Hooray! Hooray! She shouted. I'm so proud I cannot speak. So she did another cartwheel and she pecked him on the cheek. Coughed Mr. Lowe. You all deserve a bow. I thus declare a holiday. It starts exactly now. Because you've done so splendidly in every sort of way, this day forever shall be known as Diffin-Doofer Day. And furthermore, I promise I won't ever wear a frown, for now I know we'll never go to dreary Flobber Town. His eyebrows came right out. Then we held a celebration. There was pizza, milk, and cake. Like everyone, I ate too much and I got a bellyache. We laughed and whooped and hollered the entire school day long. Then we all sang triumphantly the Diffin-Doofer song. We love you, Diffin-Doofer School, we definitely do. There surely is no other school that's anything like you. You're gribulous, you're grobulous, each day we love you more. You are the school we treasure and unceasingly adore. Oh, finest school in Dinkerville, the only one as well. We love you, Diffin-Doofer School, much more than we can tell. You are so Diffin-Dooferous, it gives us joy to say. 3 cheers for the Diffin-Doofer School. It's a good thing I don't have to sing for my paycheck, huh? Hooray, hooray, hooray. All right, so you have to do me a huge favor. Ready? Turn your bodies just a little bit towards your teachers. And say thank you. For making their school like a Diffin-Doofer school. Where everything is not boring like Flobber Town. And where they teach you how to think. And we don't have to worry about tests. We just have to worry about having a great day every day. That's pretty impressive. Congratulations to you. All right. Ready? One more story. Similar idea. This one is called A Fine, Fine School. Has anybody read this before? Some of you who heard me read it last year, maybe, but it's worth another read. It's by Sharon Creech, and you're going to hear some names in it that you just might recognize. Mr. Como was a principal who loved his school. Every morning he strolled down the hallway and saw the children in their classes. He saw them learning shapes and colors and numbers and letters. He saw them reading and writing and drawing and painting. He saw them making dinosaurs and forts and pyramids. "Oh," he would say, "aren't these fine children? Aren't these fine teachers? Isn't this a fine, fine school?" Near Mr. Keen's school, Tilly lived with her parents and her brother and her dog Beans in a small house next to a big tree. On Mondays and Tuesdays and Wednesdays and Thursdays and Fridays, Tilly went off to school. At school, Tilly learned her shapes and colors and numbers and letters. Sometimes when she saw Mr. Como standing in the hall, he waved. "Aren't these fine children?" he said to himself. "Aren't these fine teachers? Isn't this a fine, fine school?" On the weekends, Saturday and Sunday, Tilly climbed her favorite tree. And she took Beans on walks and threw him sticks. And she pushed her brother on a swing and tried to teach him how to skip. You can't see them from here, but I'll read the little captions. "I'm stuck. Get help. Let go now, Beans." This is my favorite one. "Be one with the skip." But on Mondays and Tuesdays and Wednesdays and Thursdays and Fridays, Tilly went off to school. Beans and her brother did not like to see her go. "Hurry, hurry, hurry home," her brother called. One day, Mr. Como called all the students and teachers together and said, "This is such a fine, fine school. I love this school. Let's have more school. From now on, let's have school on Saturdays too." The teachers and the students did not want to go to school on Saturdays, but no one knew how to tell Mr. Keen that. He was so proud of the children and the teachers and all of the learning they were doing every day. I have to say, this dog really cracks me up having a little cup of coffee on the front steps. And I will also say, if you just switch these around a little bit, this little one waving goodbye is like Charlie's little sister, Emma, who we also call Beans, by the way, and who every day says, "Bye, brothers," to her brothers. "When are you coming home, brothers?" And so that Saturday, Tilly set off for school. "But it's Saturday. What about the swings?" her brother called. The following month, Mr. Como announced, "This is such a fine, fine school. I love this school. Let's have more school. From now on, let's have school on Sundays too." The teachers and the students did not want to go to school on Sunday, but no one knew how to tell Mr. Como that. He was so proud of the children and the teachers and all the learning they were doing every day. There's a sign in this cafeteria. You can't see it from where you're sitting, but it says, "Why not study while you chew?" I think he's a little carried away. And so that Sunday, Tilly set off for school. "But it's Sunday. What about skipping?" her brother called. The following month, Mr. Como called everyone together and said, "This is such a fine, fine school. I love this school. Let's have more school. From now on, let's have school on holidays too. On Easter and Ramadan and Thanksgiving and Christmas and Hanukkah. On all the holidays on every calendar." The teachers and the students did not want to go to school on holidays, but no one knew how to tell Mr. Como that. He was so proud of the children and the teachers and all of the learning they were doing every day. The sign behind him in this picture says, "The school is way cool. More school is way cool. School is cool," buttons that he's handing out. One of the kids has a sign that says, "Easter Schmeaster." And so on Christmas, Tilly set off for school. "But it's Christmas. What about Christmas?" her brother called. On the little TV behind her, it says, "The best cartoons in the world start in 5 minutes." The following month, Mr. Como called everyone together and said, "This is such a fine, fine school. I love this school. Let's have more school. From now on, let's have school in the summer too. All summer long. Every single day." His button says, "Summer school is way cool." "How much we will all learn," Mr. Como said. "We can learn everything. We will learn about all the numbers, letters, colors, shapes, Romans, Egyptians, and the Greeks. We will learn about dinosaurs, castles, and everything. We will learn everything." The teachers and the students did not want to go to school on Saturdays and Sundays and holidays and all summer long, every single day. But no one knew how to tell Mr. Como that. He was so proud of the children and the teachers and all the learning they were doing every day. And so, on the first day of summer, Tilly set off for school. "But it's summer. What about summer?" her brother called. And that day, Tilly went to see Mr. Como. She stood in his office in front of his desk. What a fine, fine school this is, Mr. Como said. What amazing things everyone is learning. Yes, Tilly said. We certainly are learning some amazing things. A fine, fine school, Mr. Como said. But not everyone is learning. Can you see the dog, the lifeguard dog? Beans. These are great illustrations. What? Mr. Como said. He looked very worried. Who is learning? Tell me and I will see that they learn. My dog Beans hasn't learned how to sit, Tilly said. And he hasn't learned how to jump over the creek. Oh, Mr. Como said. And my little brother hasn't learned how to swing or skip. Oh, Mr. Como said. And I, she said, but you go to school. To our fine, fine school. True, but I haven't learned how to climb very high in my tree, and I haven't learned how to sit in my tree for a whole hour. Oh, Mr. Como said. That day, Mr. Como walked up and down the halls, looking at the children and the teachers. Up and down he walked, up and down, up and down. If you look carefully at some of these pictures when you get a chance to see the illustrations, it says there's a boy brushing his teeth. There's another one with a picture of his parents in his locker. We miss you, son. Love, Mom and Dad. Looks like the kids have pretty much moved in. That's all they're doing is going to school. The next morning, Mr. Como called everyone together. The children and the teachers were very worried. Mr. Como said this is a fine, fine school with fine, fine children and fine, fine teachers. But not everyone is learning. The children and the teachers were very, very worried. Mr. Como said there are dogs who need to learn how to sit and how to jump creeks. What did he mean? Is he going to make their dogs come to school now? The dog is writing on the chalkboard, I will not lick my classmates. The illustrations might be the better part of this whole book. There are little brothers and sisters who need to learn how to swing and how to skip. What did he mean? Was he going to make their younger brothers and sisters come to school too? The children and the teachers were very, very worried. And you, all of you children and teachers, you need to learn how to climb a tree and sit in it for an hour, Mr. Como said. The children and the teachers were very, very worried. And so from now on, we will not have school on Saturdays, Sundays, holidays, or in the summer. A huge, enormous roaring cheer soared up to the ceiling and floated out the window so that everyone in the town heard the fine, fine children and the fine, fine teachers shout, fine, fine, fine. And I like her sign. It says, you gotta love it.
You gotta love it.
And the fine, fine children and the fine, fine teachers lifted Mr. Como up, and they carried him down the hallway and out the doors and through the town, up and down and in and out, and everywhere they went, the people said, what a fine, fine school with such fine, fine teachers, fine, fine children, a fine, fine principal. The end.